All right, hi. My name's Josh, and I am at Life West. I'm kind of known as the upper cervical guy on campus, and pretty often I find lower quarter students are asking me what's going on in this poster, so I thought I'd make a video to explain. This poster is super important because it explains a lot of the neurology that stems from the upper cervical area, and this is really important to help me, for me to understand why I'm seeing some of the benefits I have in some of my patients. How we have musculoskeletal problems clear up, how we have parasympathetic and other visceral things clear up. And this demonstrates that. So I'm going to get into it. First of all, this is made by Dan Murphy. You can buy it through the LifeWest website, and it's based on a research article from the Journal of Neuroscience in 2007. If you want, you can look up that article. But essentially what it's saying is that the upper cervical area has more mechanoreceptors than the rest of the body, and we know that. The inferior obliquus capitis has 242 muscle spindles per gram of muscle tissue. When you compare that to the multifidus of the lumbars, they have about 10. So you're getting a ton of information from this upper cervical area always, and it's telling your brain where your head is in space and how it's related. Well, it's really important because all of this input fires pretty heavily into your brainstem to regulate certain functions and outputs. Now, the first one that's really important is through the external cuneate nucleus, these upper cervical mechanoreceptors fire into the cerebellum. When you have a subluxation, through this pathway, you could have problems in regulation and output of your cerebellum. And that could manifest as problems with balance. It could manifest as tremors or problems with movement. And again, when we adjust people and we put their head back on straight, we tend to see these cerebellar problems go away. And that could be a cause of a musculoskeletal complaint in an elbow or a knee disappearing through upper cervical care. And what's also really important is that it has this alternate pathway through the central cervical nucleus that controls the tonic postural reflexes. And what that means is that the muscles coming all the way down your spine are controlled by the output of the upper cervical area. That's why if you lean your head to the right, all of these need to fire to keep you upright or you would fall over. This is really important because if you have a problem or misalignment in your upper cervical area, it will cause problems in input to this nucleus, and that will cause problems in output to your tonic postural reflexes. That could manifest in several different ways. Of course, it could manifest as back pain, and that's why we see low back pain clear up with upper cervical. But when you look at it through this window, you can understand that disafferentation will cause the right QLs to fire harder than the others, and that could cause the pelvis to become unlevel. That's why we can use a supine leg check as a measurement to tell if their atlas is out of alignment. Because we know that if their atlas is out, this pathway becomes messed up, the hips become misaligned, and we see that short leg. This could also manifest as a T4 subluxation or T12. And that's why we need to clear out their atlas effectively to see if the other subluxations disappear, and they often do. So through these two mechanisms right here, we have a way to explain how upper cervical can take care of a musculoskeletal problem. But that's not the most exciting part of it. I think what is really profound to me is that all of this upper cervical input is firing into the nucleus intermedius, and that fires directly into the nucleus tractus solitarius. Now, there's other things that fire into the NTS, such as your cerebellum is going to help modulate that area. You're going to have afferents coming up from the abdomen, the viscera, and that's going to tell your brain what's going on in these and how it needs to output. But the point of all of this is that if your upper cervical area is misaligned, it's going to create problems in integration within the nucleus intermedius. And since the nucleus intermedius monosynaptically fires straight into this nucleus tractus solitarius, a misalignment is going to cause problems in regulation within this nucleus. And that can go ahead and cause problems in output. Now, its output is going to be through cranial nerve 10, and that will send parasympathetic activity to the lungs, the heart, the immune organs. Everything is parasympathetically regulated within here, and thus it can suffer a consequence as part of the upper cervical subluxation. We've proven this. We see that when you put somebody's head on straight, you put their atlas back, their blood pressure lowers. The Dickholt study demonstrated that. And again, I think that this is just a mechanism to explain the successes we saw in that research study. It's also pretty well documented that we see changes in allergies and asthma. We've seen changes in immune function with upper cervical. There's so many changes through visceral that we can explain through this pathway. And so I appreciate this chart because it helps me understand why I'm seeing these successes in my patients. And then it also helps me explain to my patients how their entire lives benefit from having their atlas on straight. It's not just about neck pain or headaches. It's about the entire body. And it's only once you understand the neurology that these connections become clear. So I hope this has been helpful. Send me an email if you got any questions. Thank you.